अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन। पाकिस्तान ने कामयाबी के साथ एक और जमहूरी मरहला तय कर लिया। सेनेट इलेक्शन हो गए। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सुप्रीमेसी, रूल ऑफ लॉ और डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज़ के हवाले से पाकिस्तान के क्रेडेंशियल्स यकीनन आलमी बरादरी में अब मज़ीद मजबूत हुए होंगे। आलमी बरादरी के साथ तो पाकिस्तान का शुरू से ही गहरा ताल्लुक है। पाकिस्तान इस वक्त भी अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा का मेंबर है, OIC का मेंबर है, SCO का मेंबर है, ECO का मेंबर है, पाकिस्तान सार्क का मेंबर है। इन तंजीमों का रुकन होने के साथ साथ दीगर जो ग्रुप्स हैं पाकिस्तान के, उनके साथ भी अच्छे ताल्लुकात हैं। मसलन आसियान के साथ पाकिस्तान का एक गहरा रिश्ता है। यूरोपियन यूनियन के साथ पाकिस्तान के ताल्लुकात बहुत मजबूत हैं, एक पार्टनरशिप है। और आज हमारे रूबरू भी यूरोपियन यूनियन की पाकिस्तान में तैनात सफीर एक्सेलेंसी मादाम एंड्रूला कामिनारा हैं। Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Be it a political sphere or trade partnership, or even in the quest for peace in the region or beyond, Pakistan and European Union, they are having very good relations, and we'll talk about these three main areas basically. Pakistan has successfully held another, election process, which was the election to the Senate, and it has been completed. Pakistan and European Union in their program, in their cooperation, democracy is one of the elements. So how European Union feels about this milestone?
The European Union, as you rightly say, and Pakistan have been working closely together to promote free and fair elections. In fact, the European Union has been sending election observers to Pakistan for at least 4 election cycles since 2002. We have followed with interest what has happened in the recent Senate elections and the role that the Pakistan Commission for Elections Commission has taken. But what we want to also underline is that in the last report that we did on election observations, which was in 2018, the European Union identified some issues that needed to be addressed. We are in constant contact with the Pakistani authorities in order to make sure that those potential shortcomings are actually addressed. Issues such as having equal access to elections by women, also having more women candidates, are some of our concerns, as well as other more technical issues about voter registration. So this is a constant and permanent area where we discuss with the Pakistani authorities.
One of the concerns in the recent Senate election has been transparency.
Yes.
Prime Minister Imran Khan has been talking about the transparency in the Senate election, while opposition has been reminding him about the failure of, for example, RTS in election 2018. How this issue, the transparency of the election and electoral process, is, thing for European Union?
For us, it's very important, but we have to say that we don't just take a photograph at a particular point in time. We'll look at the evolution and
the process
and the evolution of elections in Pakistan, and that's what the report says, has been getting better, but there's still, as I mentioned, in fact the EU has mentioned 30 recommendations in the last report. The issue of the transparency on how people open or hidden votes, that is something that it's the responsibility of the Election Commission to make sure that whatever happens in the country is according to the laws of Pakistan. So that's what we look at. That's the election.
But the Election Commission has been under a severe criticism by the government of Pakistan, by the Prime Minister himself. How do you view that?
We, as I said, we view and we look at elections and we look at the reference point, which is what is the law. What is the law? So from that, how internally different, let's say, parties see the actual laws, that's not something that we intervene on. What we look at is, have the elections been done according to the law and according to what the the Election Commission has proposed and the Election Commission has ruled on. So,
I remember in 2002, EU EOM Election Observer Mission was headed by John Cushnahan, and then Michael Galler, the German EUP, has been heading this mission, and they have recommended so many measures for strengthening Election Commission of Pakistan. And when now Election Commission, the independent, the powerful Election Commission, when it's asserting its independence, European Union must be satisfied.
Again, we want to see independent, objective election commissions everywhere. And we want to see election commissions that apply the law of the country. So in that sense, we see as a progress in Pakistan that the election commission is strengthened and that is taking positions on election. But I also would like to underline that the democratic processes do not start and do not end with the election commission. And that's why I'm referring to the fact that the last report mentioned 30 different recommendations, which we are looking at how these can be implemented. There's 12.5 million female votes less, which basically means there's 12.5 million Pakistani women that have not got the right to vote because they have not been registered as being, born. They don't have NCIC.
So these are the institutional problems that have to be overcome.
Yes, this is just one of the 30 recommendations that were mentioned.
But when we see democracy, the question is democracy as a whole. This is the process that obviously Pakistan has been through. But again, if I take words of President of the oldest democracy, President Joe Biden, that democracy still remains fragile. Absolutely. It has to be taken care. Opposition also plans to hold a long march towards Islamabad.
Yes.
What are your observations?
Not just here but everywhere, opposition parties may decide to demonstrate or not demonstrate. With respect to the elections, that's another topic, and as I've mentioned, there are concrete identified areas where Pakistan needs to improve. We're not here to say the opposition is right or the government is right.
I'm just talking about the nature of democracy, that if such and such steps are being taken, whether they are going to strengthen democracy or they are going to weaken democracy. My reference to the context is democracy.
Democracy, under democratic rules, parties and citizens have the right to demonstrate. Okay. That is fundamental. Now it was Women's Day, whether that is about women's rights, which are 50% of the Pakistani population, or it's any type of other right, this is part of any democratic system. The process by which, if you look at the 2002 report and the 2018 report that the EU has been doing, progressively there has been better elections in Pakistan. That is without a doubt, and that has been documented by us. However, there's still a road to travel, and of course no democracy in the world has 100% of what things should be happening.
So I have to take a break. नाज़रीन ब्रेक लेते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद जब वापस आएंगे हम इनके साथ इसलिए भी जमहूरियत और इलेक्शन की बातें कर रहे हैं क्योंकि यूरोपियन यूनियन ने पाकिस्तान को ट्रेड कंसेशन दिए हैं, जीएसपी प्लस दिया है पाकिस्तान को, और जो टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन या जो बातचीत के ज़रिए मामला तय पैरादर, उसमें जमहूरियत का फ़रोग़, इलेक्शन का आज़ादाना होना भी ज़रूरी है। ब्रेक के बाद अपनी गुफ्तगू को आगे बढ़ाएंगे और इस रीजन में जो कोऑपरेशन है, यूरोपियन यूनियन एक मॉडल है कनेक्टिविटी का, बामी तिजारत का, उस हवाले से बात करेंगे। स्टे विद अस। वेलकम बैक नाजरीन, आप रूबरू प्रोग्राम देख रहे हैं और आज हमारी रूबरू हैं यूरोपियन यूनियन की पाकिस्तान में सफीर मादाम एक्सेलेंसी अंद्रुल्ला कमिनारा। वी जस्ट passed this February, and 2 years back in the month of February there were war clouds because of Pulwama and the Indian pilot wing commander Abhinandan returning back to India. But recently you have seen that DGMOs of Pakistan and India, they had a conversation, they reiterated some understanding like the ceasefire agreement, etc., etc. How encouraging you feel because of this recent development?
We are very pleased with the recent developments, and in fact the European Union has encouraged both Pakistan and India to continue building on confidence building measures, continue along the path of having a better understanding, de-escalation at the line of control. In fact, I am well aware that over the last couple of years there has been more and more ceasefire violations at the line of control. So, and I have been there, I have seen also the people that are suffering as a result of that. So it's very...
We have seen the destruction caused by firing on the innocent citizens.
Yes, I have been there, and in any situation where you have two neighboring countries, where you have an escalation of the number of violations of the ceasefire agreement, this is not good for either of the countries. So we have been very pleased with the developments. We encourage both countries to continue on this path, and this will be much better both for Pakistan and India, but also for the region and world peace. Nobody in the world has, I think, an interest to see escalation between India and Pakistan, least of all because they're also nuclear powers.
But even in the larger picture between the two neighbors, and which was also heard in some committee of the European Union Parliament, that they were talking of the human rights situation, suppression in the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The impression here, obviously you come across so many people, so many policymakers, the impression here remains that until the bigger picture, the Kashmir issue is not addressed, these CBMs or these issues will be time bound and may not come to a lasting result.
I hope that's not the case. There's a very famous song that particularly like, which is by Sting. I don't know if you know the singer, and there's a line in that says, "Nothing ever comes from violence and nothing ever will." So I think again, the only road forward, potential for mutually beneficial road forward, is de-escalation and better understanding. So escalation of the line of control will not solve any problem. It can only make that problem even worse.
Since you represent Excellency European Union here, there was much story of Indian chronicles exposed by EU Disinfo Lab, and then we heard that there is going on some investigation. Is that okay? Is that right that some investigation has been done?
First of all, the Disinformation Lab report that was published is something that the European Union is supporting. So those reports came to light because we're looking at all types of disinformation.
So that's official, something official. Yes. Okay.
So that we're looking at where disinformation happens, both within the EU and outside the EU. It's not just something that happens externally to the EU. And this is one global problem, disinformation, that we're trying to address. So we do make these reports. We take very detailed notice of the results, and we do take it into consideration when we are discussing with the relevant countries. So,
Excellency, just for our clarity, clarity, when you say it is taken up with the relevant country, it means European Union has taken up this EU Disinfo Lab report with the government of India.
No, what I'm saying is that whenever we're talking with all countries, including with India, we talk about from trade, from all the other topics, including issues that we may have, including issues like the one you mentioned.
You were just, Excellency, talking about India and Pakistan, more CBMs.
Yeah.
People to people, for example, is a great instrument for creating understanding, but here bus, rail, air, all links, you know, they are disrupted.
But that's
no
why
connectivity at all at the moment. How this can be brought back, or even the two countries, they do not have representation at the full diplomatic level. High commissioners were withdrawn and the missions are represented at a lower level.
But first of all, let me say that you used to have all of these connections.
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
You used to have. And even today, there is some trade that is taking place. So we have said publicly, repeatedly, that if there is a problem, that obviously there is a difference of opinion, a difference of approach between the two countries, the only way to solve it is by talking. The only way is to solve it is by having links, even and trying to work through the processes. I'll give you a very simple example. Need to import cotton or tomatoes, or which are produced chilies in India. India may require, I don't know, rock salt or cement, sugar. Yeah. So isn't this to the benefit of both countries? Isn't it to the benefit of the people that work in the sugar sector or the cement sector in Pakistan to have those exports?
European Union member countries, yes, or European Union Secretariat in Brussels, they have friends in India, they have friends in Pakistan. Are you encouraging both the countries to resume normal trade?
Absolutely. This is what we have been saying repeatedly, public statements by the EU saying that in order to, as I mentioned before, to solve any problem, first of all you have to talk and then build confidence and move forward.
So EU is in touch with the relevant authorities in India and Pakistan to encourage two countries to normalize at least trade and other relations.
Yes, we have I am the ambassador here, and of course I talk to the Pakistani authorities.
Okay.
There is an ambassador in Delhi who talks to the Indian authorities. That's how we do it. In all countries we have ambassadors who basically transfer the message from EU headquarters to the country, to the authorities of the country where they are. I will link it into what you were saying before on the GSP Plus. On trade, Pakistan benefits from the GSP Plus trade regime, which basically means that Pakistani goods are exported with zero import duties into the EU. This means for Pakistan 7.5 billion euros export. So the EU is the #1 export destination of Pakistani goods globally. So 33% of your exports go to Europe. The second destination is the US with 16% and China with 8%. So in that context, we also talk to Pakistan, because with the GSP Plus regime you have two sides. One is imports of your goods into the EU. The other side is that we we have agreed with Pakistan that Pakistan implements 27 UN conventions which are linked to human rights, to elections, to environmental protection, to implementation of international labor law here. With other countries like India, for example, we also have a trade regime. It's not GSP Plus, it's a different regime, and these types of dialogues take place in the context of the agreement that has been signed between the two parties.
नाज़रीन ब्रेक लेते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद जब वापस आएंगे हम CPEC के हवाले से भी बात करेंगे। मैं ये भी सोच रहा हूँ गवादर पोर्ट के हवाले से भी इनसे बात की जाए और सार्क के हवाले से भी बात करेंगे। वेलकम बैक नाजरीन। आज हमारी रूबरू हैं यूरोपियन यूनियन की पाकिस्तान में सफीर मादाम एंड्रूला कामिनारा, और हम बात कर रहे हैं पाकिस्तान यूरोपियन यूनियन के ताल्लुकात के हवाले से। और फिर यूरोपियन यूनियन नाम है जैसे यूनियन, ये मुख्तलिफ ममालिक की तंजीम है जिनकी इंटेग्रिटी है, जिनकी कनेक्टिविटी है, जो एक दूसरे के साथ तिजारत करना ज़्यादा फ़ायदा मंद समझते हैं। वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट Pakistan and India trade, and then SAARC is there.
Yes.
SEFTA was welcomed, very warmly welcomed, and then with the problems between India and Pakistan, the SAARC connectivity, the SEFTA, in fact, they are the story, it appears story of past. How it can be recreated or restarted from where the thread was broken?
Okay. I would like to start by just saying that Europeans have learned that by cooperating with your neighbors, you develop, they develop, so it's a win-win situation. So wherever we are in the world, we actually try and promote regional integration. Just a few figures would tell us about the situation with SAARC. South Asia basically has the least integrated trade globally. You are 25%, I think 25-26% of the global population, but you are about 4 to 5% GDP of the global GDP. There are very few examples, I would say practically none, where you have countries which have developed and leapfrogged forward without being in contact or trading with their neighbors. So the logic and the incentives are there. Now, with respect to SAARC, I am aware that, let's say, it was on a trajectory that basically slowed down, but we have seen that there were recently some positive movements because Pakistan chaired some of the committees. There was also cooperation on the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
Obvious things that, if you have COVID next door, you need to discuss with the other side.
2 meetings were held basically in the SAARC countries, you see.
I know on other pandemic.
Virtual one, obviously.
Yeah. I know on other issues, for example, when the region was hit by the locust pandemic. There was also cooperation. It makes sense to talk. I mean, various things don't stop up.
Look at smog every winter, look at this environmental degradation, Delhi, from Delhi till Sakhar, Multan, nothing is visible, you see. But moving forward a bit, whether European Union as an ambassador, you think that European investors should come and invest in CPAC projects, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor projects, and especially the proposed special economic zones, you see?
One of the things that we are promoting very much is further trade between Pakistan and the EU.
Okay.
One of course, opportunities to use more the GSP Plus regime, because Pakistan has been very successful using that regime. But still more can be done, because predominantly what Pakistan is exporting is in textiles, which is very, very good.
Yeah.
There's more than 1 million jobs in Pakistan that are actually linked to that trade regime, but more can be done. More investment in Pakistan is also very important, also for European businesses. And we do have a lot of discussions on how to promote that.
Okay.
One way of promoting it is to address the ease of doing business. How quickly,
there has been improvement in recent years.
Absolutely. But again,
index has improved,
Absolutely, but again, that needs to continue at the rate or even faster to go up.
Okay.
Second thing is, because you mentioned CPEC and special economic zones, one thing that the EU has been saying is that, of course, if there are big investments, economic zones. They're also interesting for European businesses. What needs to be done is to have some transparency on what are the rules there. For example, if a company invests, what are the tax conditions that it will meet, for how many years it will have these conditions, if there's any issues, for example, how there can be any litigation.
Yeah, dispute resolution mechanism.
Resolution mechanism, transparency about
part of contract.
Yes, all of these things. So these are very important things.
Pakistan has also developed Gwadar port. Whether European Union appears interested in allowing Pakistan's exports through Gwadar?
We are interested wherever there are business opportunities, and we're also interested in organizing a visit to the port to actually see, because when I talk we, it's myself and the other 16 ambassadors of EU countries.
You have approached the government of Pakistan to arrange a visit to Gwadar port?
Yes, of course we have.
And they have not responded?
This is a recent development. We're waiting for the reply. But we
had a very good cricket match.
Yes,
the world has seen, a beautiful cricket ground over there.
Well,
hopefully, hopefully 16 ambassadors can play soccer ball over there.
Well, we can also do business there. It's okay. It's okay.
So there is a willingness.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the role of the ambassador is actually to find out what opportunities exist, to report back on those opportunities and try and convince more businesses to come here. The other thing that, if you would allow me, the other thing that I'm doing as EU ambassador here, we're in the process of launching an EU-Pakistan business forum.
I see.
Focusing particularly on SMEs because we consider that the big businesses maybe need us less. It's the SMEs that have a potential. It's the SMEs that most people are working in SMEs and not in big companies. So we're going to focus on SMEs in certain sectors to start more exploring what is the art of the doable, which things need to be done.
Obviously, GSP Plus is very good. It has enhanced Pakistan exports. But at the same time, this Financial Action Task Force that has created problems for Pakistan's commerce and trade. We were happy, we were anticipating that Pakistan will come out from the grey list area, but it has been postponed till June. And most of the members from the European Union, they are part of the FATF. How hopeful you feel, that Pakistan will definitely get or come out from the grey list in June?
Okay. Nobody can say what would happen in June, but the only thing I can say is that Pakistan started with 27 obligations that you had to fulfill.
24 completed, 24, 3 remaining.
3 remaining. Yeah. So if it has completed the 24, I think it's highly likely that the other 3 can be achieved by June, but it's up to Pakistan to convince the members of the FATF that the last remaining 3 are also completed. But we have recognized and we have welcomed the huge progress that Pakistan has done. I mean, we are very much.
This huge progress should be translated into action then. That Pakistan should come out from the grey list.
You come out when you meet what you signed up for. So it's the last, the last leg, and then I would encourage that Pakistan continues with the same enthusiasm that has led to 24 being completed. That just leaves the last 3. Let's move forward, and then I think it will be also very beneficial for trade, because also there's trade implications linked to that.
Thank you very much, Excellency
Thank you very
Madam
much.
Androulla Kaminara for sparing time. नाज़रीन, यूरोपियन यूनियन की एम्बेसडर हमारे साथ बातचीत कर रही थी और पाकिस्तान और यूरोपियन यूनियन के दरमियान सबसे ज़्यादा तिजारत अगर पाकिस्तान की है तो EU के साथ है, और साथ साथ अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ जो बता रही हैं, जो पोटेंशियल बता रही हैं, और होपफुली यूरोप के सफ़ीरों का वफ़द जो है वो फाइनली किसी दिन गवादर जाएगा और फिर ये खुद देखेंगे कि पाकिस्तान और चीन के तावन से कितनी खूबसूरत पोर्ट बनी है। न सिर्फ पोर्ट बहुत अच्छी है बल्कि जो एनवायरनमेंट है वहाँ का वो भी बहुत अच्छा है। अपने मेज़बान शौकत पराचा को इजाज़त दीजिए। खुदा हाफिज़।
आप ही मेरी बेस्ट फ्रेंड हैं। वो मेरी हर चीज में हेल्प करती हैं। मैं बीमार होता हूँ तो मेरा ख्याल रखती हैं। मेरी हर प्रॉब्लम फिक्स करती हैं।
बच्चों को फर्क नहीं, सिर्फ अपनायत नजर आती है। हम भी जब अपनायत से देखना शुरू करेंगे तो फर्क दिखना खत्म हो जाएगा। चलें, डाउन सिंड्रोम को जानें।